everybody. This is the Entrepreneurship 493R class. It's a one credit class. It's the Entrepreneurship lecture series. How many in here kind of want to be their own boss someday? Okay. How many just want to work for somebody else the rest of your life? Okay. You'll find entrepreneurship skills work in both scenarios. That when you're working for someone, you really want to be a problem solver. You really want to make a difference. You want to create value. There's a lot of things you want to do. This class, we want to explore that a little bit of what are some of the things that we learn from being an entrepreneur. There's some characteristics that I think are really important to point out, because my hope is, as we're bringing in speakers and as you're starting to relate to them and to connect to them and to hear their story and to see their struggles and to see how they overcame certain challenges, I want you to recognize the problem and how they solved the problem. I want you to recognize how they built resources. How did they hire people? How did they find money and the resources to build their business? What did they do on the technology side? How did they find somebody that could build this stuff? How did they do prototyping? How did they source things in China or in other regions that would manufacture it for them? A really great aspect of being able to build resources and find connections. Networking is a really key part of that. We'll talk about that in a second. You'll find that entrepreneurs are fearless, but not crazy. We hope they're not crazy. So it's a little bit like they have the courage to jump off a bridge, but they're smart enough to put a bungee cord on the end of their feet. And if they're really smart, they've made sure that the bungee cord is not too long so that it stops you before you get to the bottom. So you want to do your research. You want to plan. You want to make sure that the risk that you're taking, that the courage you're doing to give something a try is not crazy. You know, that it really makes sense and has some possibilities for success. Biggest difference between entrepreneurs and non-entrepreneurs sometimes is the ability to take action. Many of you already have great ideas. Many of you already know what the problems are. Are you going to take action on it? Are you going to do something about it? Or are you going to keep thinking about it until somebody says, "God, somebody else did Uber. That was my idea 10 years ago, and I didn't do anything about it." So I want you to recognize what's the motivation to take action. And the difference between a successful entrepreneur and a non-successful entrepreneur is frequently they just don't do anything about it. They just don't take the action they need to take. And finally, you're going to learn as much from failure, from just trying, from getting in there and doing it, as you will from success. So we embrace the process of learning that comes from failure and success. And it's okay to fail. You learn a lot from failure. You like to be successful. We like success too. But don't be afraid of failure, especially, think about it. If you start a business and you fail, what have you got to lose right now? A Toyota Corolla, maybe, partly paid for. What else? You're at the stage of life where failure is not too damaging or expensive, or it's going to set you back. You can recover. So now is a great time to take action, to give it a try, to learn from your success. We have had some fantastic businesses that were started right here by UVU students that are now doing phenomenal. You'll drive by one of them on the freeway. How many see the business Pura? That's the building there inside. That was started by UVU students while they were in school. And Collar, a comfortable dress shirt company started by a UVU student. Waffle Love, started by a UVU student. So you're going to see a lot of things that take place from students just willing to give it a try, take action, and see what they can do. Now, this class is going to consist of a few assignments, mostly speakers. Here's how you get an A in this class. It's really easy. When you come to class, you get to do that little quiz and get your 2 points for attendance. There's 14 lectures, 28 points. Pretty simple. Make it a class, 2 points. Then you're going to do some lecture reviews. And so we want just a, half page maybe at the most, third page, just what did you get out of the class? What did you learn from the speaker? What kind of did you notice that made the difference to you? Now, I'm not going to keep these, I'm not going to go back and reference to find out what you learned, but I hope that these are great tools for you to go back and reference down the road to say, okay, what are some of the nuggets of wisdom that come from experience, from success and failures that I learned in this entrepreneurship class? Just reviewing and making notes. At a minimum, though, if I were you, besides smacking your microphone, I would write down their name and contact information, because you never know when you want to say, God, I got this idea. I wonder if I could call them and just see if they would give me a little bit of insight. And so you're going to be able to not only hear their story, but they're going to give you their contact info. And that's, I don't know what that's worth, but for me, it's worth a lot to say, I now have him on my contact list. So make a note of that. Those lecture notes are good for you. We just want to make sure you got something out of it from that standpoint. So you turn those in about a week after the lecture. If you're here live, a lot of you can do them while you're here and get them turned in right after. If you need to, every lecture is going to be recorded, and it's going to be posted on YouTube channel, and you can go back and watch it. Usually they're posted within 3 or 4 days, 2 or 3 days, so you can still get it done by the next Tuesday or the next week. If for some reason that doesn't happen, we'll give you an extra week if it doesn't get posted on time. So if you're here, just work on getting those done. If you get it turned in on time, you get 7 points per review. If you're late, you're going to get 6 points or 5 points or down to 4 points. So you'll get fewer points. You can still turn them in. I've had students turn in their lecture reviews at the end of the semester. For some reason, they really wanted 4 points for the work instead of 7. But it's up to you. I would say go for the 7. Questions on the lecture reviews? It's on the assignments. You just go in, drop it in, you'll get it done. We'll give you feedback on that. A question, yes? Where do we find the YouTube link? The YouTube link, if you look under the, where do we post that, Madison? Is it on pages? Okay. If you go under pages, as soon as we get the links, we'll drop the place where you go and find them. They'll all be together for the semester. So the same link will take you there, and then you can pick which one you want to do. Okay, any other questions on lecture reviews? This is the biggest part of your grade, attendance points and lecture reviews. Okay, now to load up that pizza a little bit, a couple of fun things that we're doing. We're going to send you a survey or a quiz on class choice. We want to find out, is there something you want to learn about? And so you get to choose from these 7 different trends that are taking place. As an entrepreneur, you like to look for emerging opportunities. You like to look where things are kind of coming around the corner, because that will be where a lot of good entrepreneurial opportunities take place. So you can pick between AI, 3D printed homes and construction, drones, robotics, you got the list. So Madison's going to send that to you. Is it already out there? Today after class, you'll get that. If you care about one of the class lectures, go ahead and drop that in there, and then I will go and try to find a really good speaker that can address that issue to give you insights on all of those things. Digital currency could be a very interesting. If you're concerned about climate change and energy and the things that are happening in that area, make that note. So that's your chance to have a little bit of input on what you're doing. We also have, I think it's really fun to see business pitches. So we have 1 week coming in where we're going to have 2 or 3 businesses come and give you their pitch, just like on Shark Tank. You're going to have to make a little decision to say, okay, is that a good idea? Does that make sense? Would I invest in that? Is that something I would buy into? And then we hope that you have a chance to give them feedback on their pitch. To say, as a demographic, as a student demographic, what did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? Is this something you would be interested in? And then finally, we've got the individual choice. At the end of the semester, when it's really crazy, I know you got finals and stuff going down, we're going to pick 5 or 6 of the best lectures that we've had in different areas, and you can pick which one you want to watch. So it won't be a live class. We won't be here. You can watch it on our YouTube channel and pick any one of those 5 or 6 that's of your interest and do the review on that. And you'll get full attendance points for it. And so that gives you a chance to have a little more flexibility as well as not be so stressed around finals time. Okay? Any questions on the lectures? Any questions on this aspect? Again, this is the biggest part of your grade, so make sure we're good. Okay. The next thing we have is the big ideas. I really want you to think about life in terms of how an entrepreneur might see life. We look for problems. We look for understanding how big of a problem it is. So let me give you a couple, before we kind of go into detail on the assignment. You've got 3 assignments here. They're each worth 5 points. And you have one due the end of September, one due the end of October, and one due the end of November. And so be prepared to do that. Now you can probably do all 3 of them and have them ready in not too much time or energy, but just be aware, 15 points comes from the big ideas. So the first concept I want you to think about is, how do you really identify and spot innovation? I really love this quote by Henry Ford. If I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse. Many innovations in businesses are geared around making something faster, cheaper, or better with different features. It's called inventing a new mousetrap, coming up with a different way of doing something already there. But what we're really looking for frequently are innovations that didn't exist. There was a study that determined that about 60% of the jobs in 30 years don't exist today. They're not available. Why? AI is coming around. We don't know what that's going to do to the job market. A lot of jobs in AI are going to be coming around the corner. So recognize that when you're getting a degree in 30 years, the things you are learning and doing today may not even be relevant. So you want to be looking for those trends and for those innovations that come out. We have 4 questions that we love to ask. What's the problem? Who has the problem? What's the solution to the problem? And are the people with the problem willing to pay to fix it? I mean, I have problems, but I'm not necessarily ready to go pay a psychiatrist to help me fix them yet. But someday, I will. I have a car that would really look better if it had a nice paint job, but I'm not ready to go pay to have the paint job done on the car. So there are elements where there's an issue as far as saying, is it a big enough problem for me that I want to do something about it? We call that a little bit of the difference between a mosquito bite and a snake bite. How many have been bitten by a mosquito? Okay, see, this is great. A great demographic, big market, everybody has it. Okay, who wants to be my volunteer? Have you been bitten by? Stand up here. What's your name?
My name's Carly.
Okay, Carly, when you get bit by a mosquito, what do?
I say, oh, that's annoying, and then I continue on with my day.
Do you at least try to kill it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
On site. Mm-hmm.
Okay, do you go to a doctor?
Absolutely not.
Do you go buy ointment or lotion or anti-itch cream?
No.
Do you do the fingernail crisscross thing? How many do that? Yes, see?
Occasionally.
Okay.
Occasionally, yes.
So you don't spend any money, so you love mosquito bites?
Oh, yeah, my favorite. No, absolutely not.
Okay.
No.
Thank you very much. Okay, does anybody in here, when they get a mosquito bite, go to a doctor? Okay, so you get the idea. It's a problem. Does anybody in here just love mosquito bites? Would you love to be hiking in the Uintas without DEET and without? Okay, so a problem, but it's a mosquito bite. It's something we're not going to be too engaged. Has anybody here been bit by a rattlesnake or by a venomous snake? Okay, who thinks they know what they would do if they got bit by a snake? Anybody? Okay, somebody on this side, stand up. Yeah. What's your name? Tyson? Yeah. Okay, Tyson, if you were up Rock Canyon and you got bit by a rattlesnake, what would you do?
Suck it out, spit it out.
You'd reach down to your ankle and...
No, I'd probably freak out a little bit, panic maybe, and try to find professional help.
Okay.
Would you call an ambulance?
No, I would not pay for that.
Okay.
But I would have someone drive me really fast.
Okay. See, he just saved about $1,000 on an ambulance ride. Would you go to the emergency room?
Yes.
Okay. What is that going to cost? Anybody know? Okay, it could cost a fair amount, but at least your
Never
minimum
mind.
deduct $350. Okay. Would you, if they came out and said we've got an anti-venom, it's a couple $1,000, and it means you won't lose your foot or your toe?
Yeah,
Okay.
That's worth it.
How many would call an ambulance if you got bit by a rattlesnake? How many? A lot that would not. How many would at least go to the doctor and get it checked out? Okay, so that tells me that it's a big enough problem that you're willing to spend money to do something about it. Entrepreneurs love snake bites. Entrepreneurs get distracted by mosquito bites. We think we've got a great problem, we come up with a great solution, but the thing we find out is nobody cares enough to pay you for it. So we want you to be looking for those things in this big idea assignment. How do we know that? How do we know that it's a mosquito bite versus a snake bite? Well, we listen for keywords. We kind of listen for when people say, God, I hate it. Oh, this is so frustrating. Why doesn't somebody just, you see road rage, or you see people that find ways to work around the line because the line's so long, I want to beat the line. So you observe anger. You look for things called desire points. Now, a desire point is a physical indication that says, here's the plan, but here's what people want to do. It's different than what they're doing. And you'll find desire points in a lot of areas. Here's two really good examples of where the path doesn't meet the desire. So people create desire paths or desire points. And they'll cut through a fence, and they'll have a different thing. And in order to stop that, we put up these fences and these signs and say, don't go here. But they do it anyway. Okay, so these are indications where there's an opportunity, where people are making an effort to get beyond the pattern or the standard. This is where you see some opportunity. So with that in mind, now we're going to talk about your assignment, the big idea assignment. The first thing I want you to do is to identify a problem. And in that, you're going to say, what is the problem? Who has this problem? And how are they currently fixing it? So we identified a mosquito bite. We identified who had a mosquito bite, and we identified what they were doing to solve it. We identified a potential snake bite and who might have a snake bite and how they go about fixing it. I want you to think about what's one of the problems you struggle with here at UVU? What's the biggest challenge that you see frustration and anger? Okay, how many have parking problems? Great, so obviously that's something to look at. So if I were to dive a little deeper, I would say, who has the parking problems? Is it everybody? Students mostly. Does faculty have a problem, Tom?
Depends what time you get here.
Yes, between 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock, faculty have a parking problem. Who else has a parking problem? Visitors can be a little bit of a challenge. Who doesn't have a parking problem? Go ahead. Those that walk don't have one. Anybody else? People that ride the bus, great. They don't have a parking problem. Somebody up here raise their hand.
Typically people with motorcycles.
Motorcycles. I had a picture of the motorcycle. There's like 10 motorcycles and 30 empty spots. And they're pretty close to the building. So motorcycles. Who else doesn't have a parking problem? Handicap parking doesn't have a problem. So can you kind of see, just from looking at this, we can start to identify or zero in on who has the problem. Usually students, usually during the middle of the day. If you're here at 6 a.m., you're not going to have a problem. If you're here at 5 p.m., you're probably not going to have a problem. But if you're here between a certain time frame, you've got a problem, because it really is hard to find it. Now, if you can't find a place to park, how are you solving it? What are you currently doing to solve that problem? Anybody? You go to the church parking lot over on 8th North and you park. You see a desire path there. If you just stand and watch, you'll see a lot of people walking back and forth from that parking lot. Yes? You get here earlier. So you're going to modify your schedule to get here earlier. What else do we do? Anybody? Yeah.
Follow people leaving.
Okay, you watch people walking out the building and is it this row? And you circle the wagons until you get somebody. Yes. Okay, public transportation's great. How many get those little scooters and ride the little scooters or the e-bikes? Okay, can you see how people are trying to address or solve the problem? That's what you identify. So that's 5 points. That's pretty simple. You say, what's the problem? Okay, the problem is parking for students during certain times of the day in certain lots, and how they're solving the problem is they're either riding the bus or they're parking off-site and walking in. We didn't mention the visitor parking. Has anybody paid $1 an hour for visitor parking? Okay, yeah, it works pretty good. So is that a little more of a snake bite than a mosquito bite there? Because I'm seeing that parking at the church, there's not a business opportunity there, but paying for visitor parking, maybe there's enough desire to move that from a mosquito bite to a snake bite. Number 2 on the big assignments is, how do I know it's a problem? So this is where I really want you to talk to a few people who have the problem and find out a little bit more. And you'll have questions like, what do you do when you can't find a parking spot? And you say, is that really a big problem? Is that something how often does that happen? What time of the day? Where do you park? Where do you find a parking spot? You dive a little deeper to see if this is really a problem that people care about. And again, some of the key things are, how are you solving it? What are you willing to pay to fix that problem? If I could offer you a parking spot right outside the front door, how much would you pay for that you didn't have to circle the wagons or chase somebody down leaving the building? So I want you to do that. That'll be the next 5 points, is answering just a few questions. What research have you done to find out? I did a little research. I went over and I talked to the parking office and I said, I hear a lot of complaints from people about parking. What's your perspective? Well, there is a little bit of a parking problem, but we have a fair amount of spaces available. It's just they're way over there in lot 10 and 14. And you can find them there, but if you're circling, instead of waiting for something, just go straight to 10 or 14, or the ones at 10 and 9 and 10, and you'll usually find a spot there. It's a bit of a hike, but you can get there. I said, how many tickets do you give? Well, we give a fair amount the first 2 or 3 weeks of school, and then everybody kind of finds their routine. After about 3 weeks, it starts to settle down, and you start to know where you can look. I said, do people usually, park in handicap and pay the ticket? No, that's too expensive. We don't give too many tickets for that. So, just finding out, talking, seeing what the issues are, you'll learn a lot from that standpoint. Okay, number 3 for 5 points is, okay, so what's your solution to this challenge? Knowing what you know, what can you do, what options do you have to try to summarize, to do it. So in the last thing, you're just going to summarize your problem, summarize your target market, who's the target market, give us your solution, and include in there, what do you think it would cost customers? I want to make sure that there's a value add that adds some cost to it. And then how are you going to market this? Who are you going to market this to? How are you going to get the word out about it? So in just doing that, you've created a very simple business plan or business concept that starts with the problem, does some research and analysis, and comes up with a great solution. I'll tell you my solution. That I've come up with about 3 solutions, but I haven't said this is important enough to me to go do it, to take action. So you guys are all welcome to do this, anybody who wants to. But I found out that riding the bus from Batteries and Bulbs Plus is free, and it takes just a few minutes. And there's tons of spots available there. I also found that they have a towing policy, that if you park in front of the businesses, you're going to get towed. But if you park a little further out, you might not get towed. But there is a risk of towage. And I talked to the business owners, to both Hobby Lobby and to Batteries Plus, and they say there is always a lot of empty spots there. And I said, what would you feel about the possibility of selling a student a no-tow pass for $50 a semester? What do you pay now for a parking pass? $80, right? Or $110 for the year. So for $50, you can park there, get on the bus for free, not ever worry about a parking spot, and the businesses there would split the revenue with me. I'd keep half, they'd keep half. They're making money on unused parking spots. I'm making money on selling the passes. There you go. And I found out that besides this place, there's a number of other parking spots close to stops next to schools that you could monetize as well. So I would make that my proposal. Here's my solution. Make a deal with the businesses to use our unused spots, sell passes to students. Okay, would anybody pay $50 for a pass right by the bus stop that takes you right to the front of the building with no waiting ever? Okay, there's my answer. Maybe one, the guy with the mustache. We like him, he's good. Okay, so now I'm not saying it has to be successful, but you kind of see the process we went through to do that. That's what we're after. So that's worth 15 points. Now, if you think about it, look at some of these brands. Can you tell me what the problem is they solve? What does Amazon solve? Why is Amazon successful? Why is Amazon successful? What's the problem they solve?
Quick delivery.
Quick delivery, okay. Anything else? You can find about anything there, right? All right, what does FedEx solve? Real quick delivery on stuff you got to ship. How many have used FedEx? Okay, pretty reasonable. What's the problem Starbucks solves? Anybody? You're smiling. What is it? Coffee. They serve coffee, but it's supposed to be what? Really, 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 really good coffee. And they have free internet in their site, right? Okay, so you can start to identify these companies and businesses. What's the problem? Who's their target customer? How do they make money? Is it a good, reasonable business? All right, next thing is, so that's the big ideas. So we've got the attendance, the lecture reviews, the big ideas. Next thing we have is networking. A really big part of an entrepreneurial endeavor is you've got to meet people. You've got to be willing to go out and shake hands and say hello and interact with people. So networking, I want you to go to 2 networking events. And there are a lot of options for networking events. You can do a lot of them here on campus. So I want to introduce you to one of the best features of this class is we do a luncheon with the speaker after for about 10 students. And if you sign up for that, you get to go upstairs, have a really nice lunch, visit with the speaker, and you get 15 points for doing it. So that's one of your networking events. How many have already signed up for that by chance? Raise them high. Okay, have you been to one before? Is it an awesome experience? Question?
How do you sign up for the luncheons?
Okay, Madison, how do they sign up for that? Yep. In fact, meet Madison, because I introduced her already before, but.
Hello, I'm Madison. To sign up for the luncheons, you can go to the Pages tab on Canvas, and there's a sign-up sheet for every single one of the luncheons available this semester. So you'll click on the luncheon you want to go to, hit edit, put your name in, and save it, and then you're all signed up. After the lecture, you'll come and meet me at the front, and we'll take you up to a yummy lunch.
Okay, now that's value for your money, right? You get to meet the speaker, interact, have a wonderful lunch, and you get points for class. Okay, now our priority is we'd love to let those who haven't gone go first, and we'd love to let those who, if we have available space after those that have gone once but want to go again, you can do 2 of those. So you kind of second priority. Third priority is if we still have some seats, we kind of do, okay, who's here and still wants to go if you've gone before. Just be considerate of the other students, and if you've gone a few times, let some of the other ones kind of go and participate. But we're going to fill up those seats, so be willing to participate. If you can make it work as part of your schedule, it's definitely worth it. It's one of the best opportunities you've got. We also have Brianna and CJ from the Entrepreneurship Institute Brianna, do you want to come up and introduce yourself? And then CJ wants to come up and tell us about some events going on. So this is Brianna Hale.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Thank you to those of you who stopped by our open house earlier this week. It was a lot of fun, and I recognize some of the faces here in the audience. My name's Brianna Hale. I'm the director of the Entrepreneurship Institute, which is that cool space just right over there across from the stairs. We do all kinds of incredible events and programming. We've got workshops all the time, which I'll have CJ fill you in on. But just some recurring opportunities that I wanted to mention real quick too. Every month we do a Big Ideas Challenge. So you submit your idea. It's just a very short little application where you explain your idea. You don't need a full-fledged business plan. And then on the last day of the month, we award 3 winners to receive $50 cash. It's easy. You can submit as many ideas as you want, as frequently as you want. So I definitely encourage you to get involved. It's just a good way to get your mind starting to identify problems and coming up with innovative and unique solutions. We also watch Shark Tank every Monday at 2 o'clock, and we have popcorn. It's a fun, casual environment. Just come on by. And then if you have an idea of your own and you're looking for team members, there's a kind of an open mic opportunity after we watch Shark Tank where you can step up and present as well. Did CJ run away?
CJ is right here.
Oh, he's right here.
Come on up,
CJ, why
CJ.
don't you talk about our events next week?
Okay, so we have 2 events next Wednesday and Thursday. Next Wednesday, we have 2 of the co-founders for Mixers coming to present and explain how to tell your story when it comes to entrepreneurship, how to convey what your journey is, what you're doing, what your product is, all those different things. This one is filling up very fast. We have nearly 40 people signed up, and so if you guys want to be a part of that, sign up as soon as you can. There will be lunch. It'll be Chick-fil-A and like Chick-fil-A nuggets and pinwheels. So yes, there will be lunch. And then the day after on Thursday, from 2 to 3 p.m., we have Seth Johnson coming to teach us how to build early products and momentum. So just the very beginning phase of like, hey, I have a product, here's how I build it, get it created, and how do I get momentum after I'm selling that. So 2 great workshops. Please sign up for them. Come talk to me later. And we also have flyers over. You can come grab them from me, or if you go over to our suite, literally right outside with a big LED wall screen, just come on in and ask any questions. We'd love to answer them.
Thank you. And I also just want to point out, too, if you guys have ideas of your own and you need a little bit of guidance and direction, we do mentoring and coaching, and we also have subject matter experts and business experts and other entrepreneurs and investors that we can introduce you to who really want to help guide you in the right direction and make those additional connections. The best way to stay in the loop is to subscribe to our newsletter. We send it out 2 times a month, and it has all the deadlines, all the information that you're ever going to need. We also have a great social media presence, too, so feel free to follow us there or just pop in and say, hey, I look forward to working with you guys this semester.
Okay, so some really good things there. Plenty of networking events. If you didn't pick up on it, they have access to funding, and there's competitions. They'll do business pitches. You could win up to how much on the Zen Starter and some of the other ones? Up to $2,500. Yeah, they are there to help you take action. So if I were you and I'm doing my big idea kind of concept, I would go talk to them and see if it's spaghetti that sticks on the wall. See if you've got some really good options and find out what you can do to help get that started. You'll find that a great resource. So that's why we're connected with the networking to the Entrepreneurship Institute is a fabulous resource that's free, that's here to help you students. Across the street, behind IHOP, is a business resource center. This primarily works with people off campus as opposed to on campus. And so they also have workshops and events. They'll teach you a little bit about QuickBooks and how to do some social media marketing and applying for loans and applications. So there's another option to tie into them. RevRoad is an organization that specializes in business startups. They have about 60 or 70 businesses in their portfolio that they're working with to help them start, some of them that came from UVU. They have regular events both off campus as well as on campus. So we'll tell you about those as they come up, but RevRoad's a great option. There will be competitions and pitches. Usually in the November timeframe, we're actually going to have a pretty big pitch here from RevRoad that's going to be inviting companies we're going to probably take some of the winners of that pitch and have them come and pitch to you in class. So that's going on in that time frame. VentureCon is a great activity that happens here on campus. It has fellow business students or alumni students that are actually pitching their businesses in a trade show format. So you go up, you walk through, you interact with them, you find out their product, you give ideas, you buy stuff. You may see some great gifts for Christmas coming up. You may see a number of things. VentureCon is here, it's fun. You'll really get a chance to interact. And then there's also various job fairs and or things that are trying to help you find jobs going forward. Great networking events because you're meeting businesses and people that are there to help, that are looking for students to hire. And then finally, for those of you that aren't able to come to class or might be attending from a distance, you'll have events in your work or in some of the activities you do to go to conferences or to seminars. Those count as networking events as well. So you have a whole variety. If you have some coming up, share them with your students. If we see them coming up, we'll make announcements at the first of class about some that are coming up that you'll want to do, similar to what CJ did with things that are coming up. So this, I promise, is one of the funner things when you can go to some of these events and make that work. It's a good experience for you as you develop your networking skills. Now, there's a really good TED Talk by Sam Horn. She talks about how do you make a good introduction? How do you make a great first impression in 60 seconds? And I wanted to just kind of, how many have had any training on how to introduce yourself? Has there been a little bit there? How many feel comfortable introducing yourself? Okay, how many don't feel comfortable? Say, I hate it, it's the worst thing to do. Okay, see, you're not even comfortable admitting that you're not comfortable. So here's a basic format that you do. Hi, my name is Mark Seastrand. I'm a professor, I'm not a professor. I teach a class at Utah Valley University in entrepreneurship, and I love interacting with the students in the class. Some interesting things about me is that I started three businesses and exited 4 businesses in my career. I was on the Orem City Council for 14 years. And another thing that's unique about me is I became a father at age 50 and a grandfather at age 63. And there's a fun story behind that. So think about that one. And if you want to know more, come up and talk to me and say, okay, give me the scoop on how you became a father at 50 and a grandfather at 63. Now, that's me. And I'm eager to meet and to help and to interact with you all I can. Now, tell me about you and what can I do to help you? Does that seem pretty simple? Not too bad, because guess what? Everybody is going to stand up and introduce yourself to the person on each side of you, okay? If you're on the end of the row, then you get to do the people behind you and to the side of you. So we're going to take a little bit of time just to practice this because I think it's really fun. Take a few minutes, stand up and introduce yourself to your teammates. Ready, get set, go. All right, here we go. Did that work out good? Good. You guys meet some new, we're good? Okay, if we look at, all right, if you're standing up, it's now time to sit down. If you're talking, it's now time to quiet down. Okay. All right, there we go. What energy. Can you see what happens when you start to network and you start to meet people? There's a lot of great energy that takes place, and hopefully you've all now connected with somebody in class. You know, somebody that if you have a question or you need a little input or thoughts on, you can reach out and talk to people and kind of figure out what's going on. You met our good friends at the Entrepreneurship Institute. You've met our TA, Madison. Ryan, stand up. Ryan is also helping us. He helps us arrange all the speakers and make sure the speakers gets here. He does a great job. So you've got people here to help you any way that you need help to make this a really enjoyable class. We've gone over then the So the grades, you have attendance, lectures, big ideas, networking. There's a final survey. You don't have to come in for the final survey. We're going to send it to you, ask you questions about what you learned in class, what your intentions are. Do you see yourself being an entrepreneur? A number of fun questions there to help us get some good feedback, but as well as hopefully to help you think about the class experience and what you got out of it. So that adds up to 181 points. To get an A, you need 168 points. There will be a quiz on that sometime during the class of how many points do you need for an A? How many do you need? 168. Same for this side. You're both the same. We treat you equally. 168 points. Keep track of that. Now, when you go on Canvas, sometimes it'll show you a percentage. That's kind of talking about the percentage of assignments you've completed, not the points. So just look at the points and look at what you got to do to get 168. It's easiest to get your reviews in on time. It's easiest to just get your big ideas done a little early. It's easy to get the networking events done. And then this class is truly an enjoyable, fun experience that at the end of the day, we give out about 70% of the class gets an A. And that's great. I'd give you all an A if you get the points. You meet some great speakers. You have a wonderful time. You get to think about things in a different way. And hopefully it will set you up to be able to go forward and be a good problem solver, whether you're working for yourself or working for others, and to be able to really add value to whatever you do in life and your profession. I'm going to see if I can get this to work. This is one of my favorite videos. Madison, you might have to come and get me going on this. This kind of summarizes the entrepreneurship experience for me. This is about an 8-year-old girl that is doing the 40-meter ski jump. And she gets to kind of go through things that she worries about and thinks about. I want you to think about, okay, if you're at the top of the ski jump, if you're thinking about starting a business, how does that, what are you worried about? What are you nervous for? You going to crash and burn? What are you going to do? But then I also want you to think about what happens after the ski jump. How does your perspective in life change? How does that affect your ability to make a difference going forward? So here we go.
I'll do it. Well, here goes something, I guess. Oh, okay, you can do this. I'm gonna jump.
You got it.
Whoa, my ski's slipping off.
Just remember, never snowplow, okay?
No snow plows.
Just keep it straight, you'll be fine.
Okay.
Same thing you do on the 20.
Straight. Do you go faster on the in run?
Little bit.
A little bit?
Yeah.
Is it any steeper, do you think? Not much?
Same steepness, it's just longer.
Well, just longer. Just longer. Just a bigger 20, that's all.
Yep.
It's a bigger 20. Go ahead. You got this. I got it.
It's fine. You'll be fine.
Okay. Here
The longer you wait, you'll be more scared.
I go. Just the suspense at the top at the first time freaks you out. That's the only thing. It's so fun. Huh? 60 seems like nothing now. Whoa!
So that's the class. Let's have some fun. Let's explore with these speakers. Let's see where we can go. And if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks so much for your participation today. We're going to do one more thing before you go. If you're going to lunch with us, kind of come up here in this area. We'll head on out. But we wanted to get just one really good group picture of everybody together. So if you could just kind of squeeze into the middle.